think I'm at about 46 or 47 kilometer on the markers on the logging road. Slight drizzle snow. It's about been the consistent view the whole time. I think I got about, I don't know, 20 more minutes. That'll get to where I'm gonna get my gear ready and hike into that sweet piece of nature and see if I can't catch me a steelhead. One thing for sure, you're never the only one. Somebody's monitoring this crossing. Elk cross here. Probably what they're after. Anyway, I gotta get across this river and downriver and try to put this camera somewhere safe so I don't wipe out and kill it. Kinda suck. Maybe we'll get lucky. Fight a steelhead today. There's one down there. Woo! Well, it's a bit of a snarkly day. I was going to go down by the river to a cool spot, share some emails, but it's just too noisy with that background sound, right? And the view's obviously a little compromised with the weather. Got some snow up in those hills up there. Snowed on the way in this morning. But anyway, I think I'm going to pull up a stump right here and listen to some people, see what they got to say. What do you think? I think okay. There we go. As long as it doesn't absolutely pour rain, we'll be all right. I'm a couple hundred yards from the timber, so if anything wants to throw something at me, it's going to have to haul it a little ways. Definitely in the zone for it. Actually, First Nations lady at the store, Banfield, where I keep my boat, she ran into two of these beings just right down here on the river where I'm steelhead fishing. And then another guy, First Nations fella from Pachino Bend here, he ran into one. See one right down here as well. And he saw him, went out in the Kleinwa, chucking rocks at him and his buddy while they were hunting. All over. You never know when or where, right? And I don't know what I'm going to read. I'm going to read something. I'm going to do something a little different this time. I'm going to start this video off at the beginning of my day to show you a typical day, a good day for me in my life that I love. And then in between emails, I'll take you along through my day, alright? So obviously you're here right now, you already saw me driving in. Now, let's see what we got. Let's listen to this one here. This is from Carriston, Washington. I think this is red. Alright. Hi Steve. Ross Rockstad writing in again. Okay to share my name. I have a couple stories to share. The area I used to live in is a heavily wooded western Washington spot called Carriston, which is east of the Hobart/Maple Valley areas. Although the town of Carriston is long gone, the area and access road is still uses the name. The area is pretty much remote, has roughly 25 homes with access gained by driving the 5 miles of gravel road through the city of Seattle watershed. The first story is one I witnessed. I was on my way back to work in the early 1990s on one dark fall morning. It wasn't raining as I drove down the road traveling through the shed. I got into the bottom of the long hill called the Black Creek Grade and had just started across the old wood bridge that has since been replaced by a concrete bridge. The old bridge had sunk down on one end and most of the time had a large water puddle on the low bridge end. I was going maybe 10 miles per hour when I noticed this animal laying down facing me drinking from the puddle. As I got closer, I noticed it was a cat. The same size as an adult cougar, but was shiny, gloss black, and wet looking. Well, that's interesting, eh? It stood up and turned and was slowly running to the left, then to the right in front of my truck, staying in the lighted area of the roadway. Oops, that's weird. The screen just went blank. It also had a short, bobbed tail, maybe 4 to 6 inches long. It ran in front of me for about a quarter of a mile, then darted off to the left into the woods. It had the look of a panther, but with a short tail. Crazy. Never could come to a conclusion on what it was. Got any ideas? Nope, not me. The only thing I can come up with is a domesticated exotic pet that somebody had, possibly bob the tail like some people do. Doberman pinchers ears and sometimes cat's tails. I don't know, man. That's a bizarre one. The second story is one that I heard from the lady that saw the Sasquatch. A couple years back, after discovering your channel, I contacted this lady saying she might want to send her story to you. I don't believe she ever did send it in to you. However, she did mention that her daughter has issues today from what they witnessed that evening. Her daughter was around the age of 12 then. That sucks. They're traveling home to Carriston, driving through the shed in the early evening. It was just getting dark. There's a narrow area with a slight left turn that slows cars down. On the right is a steep 10-foot high bank. As she navigated this area, something was noticed moving, then jumping off the bank, passing over the car's hood, then landing a couple feet from the left. Let me read that one more time. As she navigated this area, something was noticed moving, then jumping off the bank, passing over the car's hood, then landing a couple feet from the left, front car tire. She said she stopped, leaned forward while looking up to the left through the windshield. Her daughter did the same. Upon landing next to her car, it had turned and looked down into the car. She said it was huge, had black or dark brown hair with a man's face. Her daughter started screaming at her to drive as she curled up in a ball on the passenger side floor, the screams turning outright to tears and fear. She stated that she looks at the encounter as something very rare and doesn't have any bad feelings about seeing one. She still lives out in Carriston. I also found another tree break on our property last November while cougar hunting. I sent it to you, but I don't think you shared it. The tree is a living pine, about 2 inches in diameter. This was before any big snowfall. No saw, no claw, no axe or rub marks on the tree. Tree broken directly across the trail. Please share your thoughts on this break. Thanks for all you do, Steve. Keep up the good work. Okay, man. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't a clue. Let me see if I can do this way, you guys. So there is the tree lopped over there. And there's the breaking. Tell it's green wood, obviously. I don't know. You know what? I've never made it a secret that a lot of details that some people look for and concentrate on don't really do much for me. Because like I said, my stance on it, I've seen them, I've heard them, I've seen them, I know they're here. What they leave behind as in rocks stacked or trees broken, I don't really give a shit. I just want to know why we are not educated about the truth is my main thing. I won't start repeating myself like a broken record, but that's my stance. So what do I think about the tree broken? For me, it's just like the elk I just showed you guys, I'm about to show you guys. It's like, well, there's some elk prints. You know, same old shit. Same old shit. It's been seen and done a gazillion times. Why do they break the trees? Myself, I don't know. I do know that they have broken and pushed down stuff behind people as they've gone up a trail, or they pushed it down in front of people the next time they came up to go up a trail. We had that big, larger sized pine, about that much around, snapped right off about 20 feet down and thrown out in the road, the old dead end road, laying there from when we drove back out. And it took me a while to find where that tree was broken from, and it was dry and hot out, no wind. Why do they do that? I don't know. Some kind of a signal that they expect us to understand and respect? I don't know. I don't know. Seeing if you're paying attention, giving you a test, maybe, I don't know. You know? Don't know. Don't know. Interesting though. Thanks for sending the email in, man. And make sure you keep sending them in when you come across them, all right? And you may want to share this with the lady and her child, maybe. Maybe they want to hear it and know that they're not alone. Okay, now what else do we got? Okay, this is titled Recent Findings. Steve, you should read this and look into the subject, then decide if this is relevant. Recently I stumbled across a video titled Ball Lightning. It showed a rare phenomenon that these folks are calling ball lightning. In the video it shows an electrified light ball seemingly walking across some train tracks. Yeah, I've seen that. If you do some digging, you'll find several different videos of this phenomenon. Oh no shit, I've only seen the one. All similar, but still each one a bit different from the last. Some even caught on Ring doorbell cameras, swiftly moving around in all directions. Supposedly the video with the train track is fake, according to the History Channel. The History Channel. Yeah, that place doesn't get any of my time. Like we care what they say, but I believe most of the accounts are genuine. Me too. The phenomenon is very real. One guy had an account of one floating through his house with multiple witnesses. Do look into this, Steve. I think you'll get the same feeling from seeing these orbs that I did. Supposedly, even a rank sulfur odor is present in some occasions. Oh, no shit, I didn't know that. This is the same description of what pilots called Foo Fighters back in World War II. Allied forces as well as the German pilots have accounts of witnessing them. They've been described being multiple different colors and entrancing. Some of the videos are clear and relatively close. I'm not saying all the videos are real, but it's interesting at the least. Steve, personally, I think some of these folks are catching video of these beings in light or orb form, whatever you want to call it. Something we don't understand yet, so I can't explain it. I just thought I'd drop this little puzzle piece to add to the pile. Have a good one, Steve, and God bless Sean from Texas. Yeah, you too, man. Appreciate it. And you know what? I know I've seen that video, man. I've watched it a couple times and watched it a few times in a row because it's absolutely bizarre. It's not normal. There's no way that's fake. If it was fake, whoever went out of their way to create that quality of a fake, they're going to use their skills to fake a whole pile of shit again, right? They're gonna fake those ball lightnings in a whole bunch of different places, not just once or maybe 3 times max. You know what I mean? And I don't think we were taught about that shit in school either, right? Not that I have too much respect for the school system now that I know what I know. And that's why we're here, to learn from each other, finally, right? We're finally learning truths from each other. Anyway. Alright, something cool's about to go down. I'm above a herd of elk and they're laying down. They look like a bunch of boulders down there and they're not moving. Hopefully they're still laying down. I'm gonna pop. I got some good trees for the backdrop. Hopefully there's a big bull down there. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I need some bush cover to break my silhouette behind me. Otherwise they're gonna bolt the second I step over here. Here we go. Alright, here's another one. This is titled, Look 'em in the Eyes. Steve, lad, excuse my extremely long post, but it may be of benefit to some. A number of times he suggested that looking straight into an individual's eyes and asking if anything strange takes place on or about their property. Doing so may open them up to responding to your questions. I recently had that opportunity and was pleasantly surprised with the quick response I received. A little background to set the stage. You've read several of my letters regarding occurrences in the spooky woods of South Carolina, and I thank you sincerely. Several months ago, my younger brother sold his house and 20 acres of land to an individual from out of state, employed as a senior chemical engineer at a local manufacturing facility, and required to travel around the country and even overseas on occasion. This gentleman has a husband/wife caretaker team who live on site to maintain the property, and it is the husband that I spoke with. He volunteered that numerous times they have heard shrill, piercing screams coming from the woods adjacent to the home in the evenings, as well as sounds of brush breaking close by. On several occasions they have heard children talking and laughing from the same area. There's no families with children who go out after dark within a mile or two in any direction. They've never seen anything nor gone looking, especially after the sun sets. These folks have several dogs who have alerted but refuse to leave the porch day or night. In the short years since becoming an avid listener to your channel, I've gleaned much from you, the Owlman, Scott Carpenter, and thousands of good, honest folks from around the world. I responded to my new friend of his concerns of goings-on around the property he is taking care of by relating my own experiences over the years and to what I've learned from the HTH family. To begin with, I explained to him, while somewhat disturbing, do not be overly upset. Sabe or Woods people are not to be feared but respected, and it goes both ways. The sounds you hear could be the work of a few hairy youngsters getting their rocks off, similar to some of the actions of human teenagers. They are feeling you out, pleased to make you nervous. Both he and his wife are somewhat afraid of the deer herd that wanders through the property. Evidently, city dwellers don't let them upset you. Deer, turkey, calmly strolling around equals no Sabe in the area. Never tried feeding the Sabe to make friends or firing a gun to scare them off. Both could have a negative effect. I further recommend that you speak calmly either out loud or mentally, and assure them that you and your wife mean no intentional offense and just want to be good neighbors. And when I say them, I mean that they are most likely more than just one. They have families and relations in what can be referred to as a clan. Should it be necessary, you can put lights on the four corners of the house or even get the local electrical company to install a pole and a barnyard light between the house and the woods. Steve, I'm wondering to myself, reckon this is why my brother sold his share of the family farm and moved to the city? He told us that he just wanted to be closer to his grandchildren. I continue to always have your back, Colonel Steve Richards, Charleston, South Carolina. Right on, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, do you think that's why I sold it? Why don't you ask him? Stare him in the eye and square up and ask him flat out. Some crazy shit going on in your property make you move? If that's what's going on in the property, the chances are pretty high, right? Anyway, this wind's starting to pick up and the rain's getting a little heavier. I'm gonna move the truck. Get out of this wind. In the meantime, you guys can see what happens on this cast. No way. That's a beauty. Definitely had crazier fights than that one, but well, I'm beside the timber now. Someone wants to chuck something at me, give her. Or not. Listen to these. Or this. Alright, this is titled A Southwest Virginia Encounter. I hope no rain's hitting that lens. I guess I'm going to find out in a minute, aren't I? I'll cover up something in a minute. Hello, Steve and the rest of the community. Been a fan of this channel after stumbling upon it a while back. Just wanted to share an encounter I had down in Southwest Virginia back in the mid-90s when I was a student at Virginia Tech. One Friday after a long weekend of classes, me and one of my roommates, who also was a childhood friend, decided to take an overnight camping trip. Nothing out of the ordinary since we would frequently go caving, fishing, and hiking. We each grabbed our tents, food, and other crap, tossed it in his car, and hit the road. My friend said he knew a place that was off of the beaten path, and he wasn't kidding. It was pretty late at night by the time we got there. This place was several miles deep in the park and looked like nobody had been there in a long time. We parked the car in a decent-sized clearing and quickly gathered up some wood and started a small fire. We pulled out our small tents, set them up, and then opened up some food like granola bars and chips, etc. We decided to get more wood because the small fire we had going wouldn't last too long. We saw a rather large brush pile at the other side of the clearing, so we figured there should be plenty of wood in it to use. We walked over to it and began pulling tree branches from the opposite sides of the pile. We were taking our time, mostly because it was pretty damn dark, except for our fire, and we were also just shooting the shit and joking around. After a few minutes of pulling out old broken branches and such from the pile, our talking seemed to simultaneously slow down and eventually stop. Me and my friends seemed to notice it at the same time. In the darkness, not far from the brush pile and campsite, was a pair of glowing eyes. These eyes were orangish red, kind of like when you take a picture of a person with the flash, and maybe about 4 feet from the ground. We froze in place, wondering what we were seeing. It was a few moments later when this creature seemed to be startled and maybe aware that we had seen it. It then quickly and quietly stood up, because those glowing eyes were no longer 4 feet off the ground, but easily nearly twice that height, much taller than either of us. So there we were, frozen in place, looking at a pair of orangish red eyes that were now looking down at us. After what seemed like an eternity, but probably only 10 to 20 seconds, it purposely exhaled loudly. This creature must have been massive, because the amount of volume in those lungs was incredible. It then started to make some kind of a growl, grrr sound from deep within its chest. So deep and powerful that you could practically feel it. That was enough for both of us, and we dropped the wood and bolted out of there. We didn't bother grabbing our camping gear, open food, or anything. We just jumped in my friend's car and got the hell out of Dodge. We came back the next day to grab our gear and maybe try and figure out some questions about what the hell happened the previous night. The campsite was how we left it. Tents and everything were untouched, including the open bags of chips and granola bars. When we went over to the brush pile, and in the location where the glowing eyes were, there was a tree, and immediately behind it was the tree line. This creature must have been beside or partially behind the tree. The distance from the brush pile to the tree was 20 to 25 feet. We took turns walking over the tree and making completely unscientific estimates on the height. We both came to the conclusion 7 feet was the minimum. Very likely taller, but impossible to be sure. To this day, my friend says it was a bear. I won't discuss it anymore. When I recently asked if he remembered where this happened, he texted me a link from Google Maps in less than 5 seconds. I think he feels it wasn't a bear, and it has bothered him enough to bookmark the location after all these years. No doubt. No doubt. The thing that has always stuck with me was not so much the glowing red eyes, it was the behavior of this creature. The startled reaction it had when it realized it had been spotted after we slowly stopped talking. Then it acted like it was pissed at us or something. Anyways, thanks for taking the time to share my story. I'm not a hunter, so I can't say whether it was a black bear or not. The logical answer is black bear, but after 25 plus years, I'm still thinking it may have been Bigfoot. I'd like to hear you and the community's opinion on it. Thanks, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, I think I've read this. I'm not sure, because there's a lot of real familiar experiences like that. Now, I don't know why they get pissed when they realize we see them, but that's a pattern. That's another pattern, right? They get pissed off when they know that we see them back. That means they screwed up, and it must be the ultimate screw up for them or something. It must be really humiliating to know that you screwed up when it comes to us simpletons, right? But anyway, what do I think? You know what I think. You know what it was. You wouldn't be emailing if you didn't know what it was. You know what it was. Your friend knows what it was too, and he does not want to acknowledge it, right? Alright, anyway, I'm gonna go try another pool, another location on the river. I gotta go try a few casts before I go home. I gotta be home. I think I have 2 hours left to play, and then I have to get back. So, or maybe I should share one more. Alright, screw it. I'm gonna share one more. I think I might start putting little clips of outdoor adventures in between email shares, maybe. See how this video goes with it, right? This next one is titled Scream at the Thunder Pits. I hope I didn't read this. Hello, Steve. Second time sending this in. First time must have gotten lost in the pile of people recounting their experiences. You can share my name as I don't give a shit what other people think. I gotta put something on this camera. Hold on a minute. It's getting soaked too. 1 minute here. There we go. That's better. Got the old plastic bag over top of it. You can share my name as I don't give a shit what other people think. My name is John Palazzi. I've told this story many times to a handful of people, co-workers, family, friends. Some have mocked me for it and some have not. So let's get on with the story. Summer 2005, usually me, my mom, dad, brother, and nephew would be camping in July every year at a place called Newberry Volcanic Monument in Bend, Oregon. We took a day trip from Newberry to the Ochako National Forest for some rock hounding or geodes. We arrived later in the day, 2 p.m. We all piled out of the truck to see dozens of pits people had dug. We all grabbed our tools and started digging. Whilst we were digging, maybe an hour or so elapsed during that time, a silence came over the forest. We hadn't noticed because of our activity, but it was dead quiet, Steve. I had that uneasy feeling that I was being watched, hair standing on end like I was hit by an electric field. Then the most blood-curdling scream was let out. It sounded like nothing I've heard before, almost more female sounding. No bear grunting, no mountain lion screaming, almost sounded human, but too guttural to be human. After the scream, we all popped our heads out of the holes like gophers and looked at each other. My father asked my nephew if he had sneezed, as he had a small head cold at the time. I know my dad felt the same feeling I did, yet he tried to explain it away. Funny how we as humans will do that, being faced with the truth only to do anything to find another explanation. No shit, especially today, right? My nephew shook his head and said no. At that point, my dad, me, and my brother all said, yep, it's time to go. So we all headed to the truck very quickly. Me and my brother didn't even get in the cab. We jumped in the back of the truck bed. My dad put it in gear and took off in a cloud of dust. What really shook me up, Steve, as we headed down the mountain on a rock we passed just an hour or so ago that had nothing on it, now had a buck skull, antlers, and all just sitting there placed on the rock. That freaked me out, Steve. And that's it. A feeling, a scream, and a dead silence. Never saw the culprit, but nor did I want to. It shook me up to this day, and I still get goosebumps, chicken skin telling the story. My family's second experience had smelled the smell of rotting flesh in the mountains up by Lake Tahoe. Been trailed down to drainage, but could never see what it was. Only heard the branches snapping up the hill and the uneasy feeling of being watched. Me and my father are the most affected by them. We at the same time had said it's time to go back. But what sucks is back was having to go the way we came, which is where we heard the branches snapping on the hill above us. It felt like we were being paced, but not stalked, just watched intently. It creeps me out. Anyway, those are my experience. Maybe they will help some people with their puzzle. Those logging trucks are noisy, eh? Anyway, those are my experiences. Maybe they'll help some people with their puzzle. By the way, to this day, I refuse to go back to the Ochako National Forest in Oregon. However, I have not let the experiences sour my time in the outdoors. This is my land too, and we can share this beautiful, beautiful planet together. Kindest regards, John. Yeah, no shit, man. It's too bad everybody didn't have that same attitude. Why can't we just share this beautiful planet together, have fun, do what makes you feel good, and quit going at each other? But anyway, thanks for sending that in, man. Hopefully it does help somebody. Probably going to help just by mentioning where it was, right? Probably. It's funny, you watch those logging truck drivers. Lots of guys do. I think they make good money. I don't think I could do it. I think I'd go bonkers driving back and forth on these damn roads all day long. We see lots though, right? I wonder how many logging truck drivers see shit and don't want to admit it. Right? How many? I'll bet there is a lot. You know it. You frickin' know it. I'll bet you there's a whole pile of logging truck drivers here right now watching these videos, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Give it up. Cough it up. Share it. Cat's out of the bag, man. The cat's out of the bag. There's no secrets anymore. There's nothing secret about this shit anymore, and there's no myth. This is all fact. Now let's just get to the bottom of it, right? Enough of the bullshit. Anyway, I gotta go try to catch another fish. And then, I don't know, if I got time, I'll get a couple more shares out. If not, I'll probably be back tomorrow from somewhere, right? Well, that's it for my day. That's a good day for me. Real good day. Did everything I love to do today for this time of year. Caught a steelhead, saw some elk, and filmed them. As good as it gets. And for the curious, right where I'm standing is basically where a forest person with reddish brown hair was seen by a First Nations lady from the Pachina Band at Banfield. She's seen it right here on the side of the river, standing there broad daylight. Right here. Crazy, right? So I'd add that in there. Alright, see if I can share one more. The traffic might be a little heavy because it's right beside the main logging road. That's how that young lady saw this being standing here. But anyway, listen to this. The Round Table of Knowledge by ATH. Great title, thank you. 6364, I heard a Saturday scream around 1:30 a.m. Coon hunting in northeastern Ohio swamp. Just about died. Long story, high strangeness. I posted this before to your site. In 76, my wife and I were hunting deer in Arizona Apache Sitgraves National Forest. We knew the area well because we camped there throughout the year, up from Phoenix. She had a 30-06 760 Remington pump and a Smith S&W 357 mag. I had my 30-06 Remington 760 BDL bolt rifle and a Colt 45 auto. We only took small pen lights with us and were returning to our blazer and campsite. We were hiking back in the dark when all of a sudden the hair lifted on my neck and the sense of something unnatural was overwhelming. Never happened before or since in the woods. I felt like we needed something much bigger than the protection we had with us. Why, I don't know. But like you have said, it's crazy how we feel safe in our blazer knowing it couldn't stop whatever it was. Yeah, it's like a tent too, right? I have a pretty good idea who we really are and what is happening. You just don't blurt that stuff out. I think I upset my doctor today. I guess she didn't know about the adult sudden death syndrome affecting the planet. Go figure. To the point. I believe Earth is a type of a farm and we are the cattle, putting it lightly. You know, the good book talks about this stuff, but who can hear it? John 3:12, Joshua, firstborn of spirit, declared, quote, "If I have told you earthly things and ye not believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you heavenly things?" End quote. I'm not some sort of crazy fanatic nutcase. I'm just another seeker such as yourself. It is what it is. Things are not as they appear. So much more to know. The more I learn, the more I realize what I don't know. God bless and keep the fight. There isn't much left to lose. Okay, man. I'm right there with you. It's funny when a lot of people realize that everything's not as it seems, right? And you know, as I go along and I look for clues, one quick little blurb that always stands out and sticks with me is, I forget which one it is, Siskel or Ebert. Those guys were intelligent guys who were movie critics, and one of them died. And somebody forwarded me the link to the quote from his wife, but he died and he came back. They brought him back again. And when he came back, his wife said he was absolute clear of mind. Absolute clear. And he said flat out, nothing is what it seems here in this lifetime. Nothing is what it seems. Right? But my ride's already been going down that path. So to hear that from somebody you're somewhat familiar with, but just to hear that when you're starting to figure it out anyway, it kind of makes you go, huh? Note taken. Note taken, right? And the more I learn, the more that is quite apparent. But anyway, it's funny how I keep putting myself in these places, right? For somebody who doesn't go looking for them intentionally. I think maybe I do it just to make sure I'm making a statement that I'm here to live my life too, man. I love it out here. I love it out here. I'm going to leave you alone, just leave me alone, and I'm not going to be scared. I'll be a little apprehensive, a little nervous sometimes, but I'm not going to be scared, and I'm not going to stop doing what I love to do. So, there. But it is going to be interesting along the ride as I take all of you to places where these beings frequent. Right? This river dumps out in the ocean about another 15 kilometers from here. And there's a couple of native First Nations homes at the mouth of the river down there, and these beings have been seen on the beach right there too. I think I filmed that beach when I had those biologists on my boat last spring. They took a Zodiac into an island off the mouth of this river to go tag a baby eagle, and I filmed a lot of that beach while I was sitting there. It was a day like this too. But anyway, there you go. I took you along for a day in the life, and maybe I'll do this again. And then and when I can't do this, maybe I'll just add in cool clips I have saved up in external drives and share a lot of the stuff that I've seen with you guys in between emails. Maybe I'll try that for a bit. Anyway, I can see the lens getting covered in rain from here. I gotta get going. Gotta pick up some kids from school. What the hell? I'll be back shortly, guys. Cool.